Hello everyone. In this class, we're going to have something informative and interesting about Chinese traditional culture. In this first session, before talking about Chinese culture, let's make this word culture clear at first. What is culture? This word could have different definitions in different languages. The English word culture is from the Latin word, means to cultivate. So culture refers to all human behavior and mental activity in English. Its meaning is similar to civilization in English. The Chinese word of culture is 文化. You can see we have two Chinese characters for this word. One is 文 and the other is 化. 文 originally means marking or pattern, and its extended meaning is language, article, system, and rules of society. 化 originally means change, and extended as educated. 文化 more focuses on all mental activity of human beings in Chinese. The meaning is totally different from civilization in Chinese. Culture is the combination of material culture and spiritual culture, but civilization is the essence of culture. As we just mentioned civilization and compare it with culture, let's take a further step to see the differences between them. So here is a chart, and you can see the comparison between culture and civilization in terms of the origin, content, and time. Basically, the civilization in theory is bigger than culture, in which an entire civilization can encompass one single unit of culture. So civilization is a bigger concept than culture. And culture can grow and exist without residing in a formal civilization. However, a civilization will never grow and exist without the element of culture. So the civilization cannot exist without culture, but culture can exist without civilization. At the same time, the culture can be transmitted through symbols in the form of language. However, an entire civilization cannot be transmitted by mere language alone. And the culture seems to be more lasting and live longer than civilization. It seems that the culture is the confusing word, and the dictionary of Merriam-Webster offers 6 definitions of it. But I believe the culture is more than the sum of its definitions. Now, I want you to think about the definition of culture. So what is your definition of culture? Or what does culture include? If I asked you to describe your country's culture, so what would you say? I give you 2 minutes to think about it, and please write some sentences, even the words, to define culture. Okay, time is up. I think there is no right or wrong answer about the definition of culture, but I believe there are many elements you may mention. For example, the food, art, language, customs, behavior, religion, and so on. Uh, Culture actually is the multitude of aspects. It is about how we act, how we think, and how we behave based on the shared values of our society. It is how we understand the symbols from language to hand gesture. So culture is everywhere. Here are some different definitions of culture. Let's have a look. The first one. So culture refers to the customary ways in which humans live. For example, the diet, family forms, social organizations, and religions. So to be more specific, so the culture encompasses the religion, food, what we wear, how we wear it, and our language, marriage, music, what we believe is right or wrong, how we sit at the table, how we greet visitors, how we behave with loved ones, and a million other things. In the second definition, culture is a system of shared values, beliefs, behaviors, norms, used to cope with the world and each other, passed between generations through learning. So in this definition, there's the key point that culture can be passed between generations through learning. In the third definition, culture is the complex whole of the knowledge and the way of life that shared by and socially learned in a group of people. Here, we can see culture is the characteristics and knowledges of a particular group of people, not only one person. I also provide two standard examples of definition culture here. The first one, the culture this term was first used and defined by an English anthropologist, Edward Taylor, in his book Primitive Culture, which published in 1871. So Taylor said that the culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, lore, morals, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. More recently, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization described culture as culture should be regarded as the set of distinctive spiritual, material, intellectual, and emotional features of society of a group, and that is encompasses, in addition to art and literature, lifestyles, ways of living together, value systems, traditions, and beliefs. So be simple and clear. Culture can be described as the collection of values, beliefs, customs, and attitudes that distinguish a society or a group of people. So till now, we have a brief introduction of culture, and also it seems culture is not easy to define in a simple words because it is too complex and extensive. and the various definitions of culture reflect differing theories for understanding or criteria for evaluating human activity. Also, there is not only one culture in the world, but many kinds of culture and have been developed by an internal or external social group. For example, we have the national culture, like Chinese culture, Korean culture, Thai culture, and so on. We also have the regional culture, which is the culture in different areas. Like in China, we have North culture and South culture. We also have the ethnic culture. So in China, we have 55 minorities, and each minority has its own culture. Like Han people, we have the Han culture, and the Hui people, we have the Hui culture. So the business culture, it is more related to the business behavior and etiquette. For example, we should always remember to switch off or put on silent of your phone in a meeting to avoid distraction. So these kinds of norms belong to business culture. So study culture is the big job, and there are unlimited ways that people can express their culture. Social scientists have developed two fundamental components of culture. So one is the material components, another is the non-material components. Material components refers to the objects or the belongings of a group of people, such as telephone, paper money, computer, stores, and the physical structures where people worship. Another component is the non-material components, which consist of the ideas, beliefs, attitudes, norms of a society. The material components and the non-material components actually are linked, and usually the physical objects symbolize the cultural ideas. In general, we consider the symbols, language, values, beliefs, and norms as five components of one culture. First, the symbol. The symbol is anything that used to stand for something else. So people who shared a culture often attach a specific meaning to an object, gesture, sounds, or image. For example, the dragon is a significant symbol to Chinese people. The second component is the language, and it present in every culture. So language is a system of words and symbols used to communicate with other people. This includes full languages as we usually think of them, such as Chinese, English, Spanish, French, and others. But it is also including the body language, the slang, and common phrases that are unique to certain groups of people. For example, even though Chinese or Mandarin is spoken fluently in most areas of China, but we have slang and phrases that means different things. The potato in some places of China is called 土豆, but some places call it not 土豆, but 洋芋. The third component is value. So values is a concept about how the world and people should be. It involves the judgments of what is good or bad and what is desirable or undesirable. For example, so most of Western people emphasize the individual achievements and unique style. However, Chinese people emphasize the group, form, and discipline. The next component, beliefs. Beliefs, known as the conception that people accept as true about how the world operates and where individuals fit in. Unlike the value, which are essentially social in nature, beliefs are more personal, and they are neither true nor false. We usually consider religions as beliefs. Yes, it is. However, it is wrong to assume that beliefs are confined to religion sphere alone. Actually, the economic, political, and social beliefs also play an important role. The last one, norms. Norms are about all societies have guidelines that govern moral standards and even the most routine aspects of life. It keeps a person within the boundary of society and its culture. Also, it gives us restrictions about something which to do and which not to do. Norms are often divided into two types, the formal norms and informal norms. Formal norms refers to the standards of behavior considered the most important in any society, such as the traffic law, the criminal codes, the college regulations. But the informal norms refer to the standards of behavior that are considered less important but still influence how we behave, such as the table manners, what we should do on the table, what we should not do on the table. Alright, so generally in today's class, we have understood the concept of culture and what culture is about. So in next class, we will officially enter into Chinese traditional culture and learn different aspects of Chinese traditional culture. So see you next class.